strange experience when I was 16, and I still debate myself over what happened. It's a few of many paranormal things that have happened to me and have created a stir in me. I was coming home from my closing shift at Chuck E. Cheese's. It was a weeknight, and in the summertime we would close at 11 p.m. and get out around 12 a.m. after completing all closing duties. That night, we had an associate moving up to manager and closing for his first time. Coincidentally, we also received a truck, which he was going to have to do on his own since most of the crew had gone home, and he really couldn't keep me and other crew members there since we were still underage. Nevertheless, he asked 3 of us if we could stay and help him, and he's pay us each $50. Of course, we all said yes. We ended up leaving the store around 2:30 a.m., and the streets were lonely. Maybe a couple cars every few minutes would pass by on the highway. It was one of those summer nights where it had been 100 degrees all day, and late that night a storm came in. By the time we got out, it was only sprinkling, and you could see a light fog rising up from the concrete. I had about a 15-minute drive home, but that day, I guess, feeling adventurous and with the fog rising from the concrete, it warranted me taking the longer way home. I took a way home that took me through a street behind the apartments where my aunt lived at the time. I had never taken that street before. To get to her apartments, I would always take another route. I get off the highway and turn onto this street and notice that there's no fog coming up from the concrete, and suddenly, a feeling of dread and almost panic came over me, which made me want to get home quicker. As I passed my aunt's apartments, I looked over, as I always do when I pass a relative or a friend's house. I look over, and on the sidewalk I see a tall man wearing a hoodie. Mind you, it is about 90 degrees out at this time. Now, when I say tall, this man was easily 7 feet tall, which is something you don't see every day. Curiously, I slow down and look at the man coming closer and closer to me. As he gets about 20 feet from my truck, I notice he's very pale, almost so white there was a glow emanating from his skin. Then I notice his face under the hood and see that he has no facial features, almost like the Silver Surfer. As he approaches the corner, I come to almost a complete stop, completely in shock of what I had just seen. He casually turns the corner and starts walking to the highway. And in my rearview mirror, I notice that his stride is very short, but he's traveling at an abnormal rate of speed for someone walking. Then I also notice his arms. They were abnormally long, and I could see them swinging back and forth in stride with him walking. But the thing that left the biggest impression on me is how his arms were hanging below his knees as he walked. This detail made me want to have a second look, so I turn into the next street, do a U-turn, and come back out onto the street. I come back out onto the street, and suddenly, the mist is there coming out from the concrete, and this man is gone. I drive out onto the service road and then the highway, and he's gone. Now, at the time, there was nothing but empty fields in the area, and he would have stuck out like a sore thumb in those fields. I even turned around and put the window down to make sure he wasn't in those fields. But when I passed back by the area I had last seen him, I noticed the smell of something burnt, almost like the smell of burnt clutch, or the smell of a power tool that's about to give out. I went home and told no one about it. The next morning, my mind is still going crazy about this man or thing I saw. I get in my truck and head to the spot. I was not surprised to see almost nothing, but there were 2 things very out of place that perplexed me even more. That smell was still in the air, it penetrated the air, and in that area, I couldn't smell anything but that. Not even my car fresheners that just a block away were so potent I could smell them outside of my truck. Then I head over to the service road to get onto the highway to just head home. Then I notice that the field closest to highway is basically gone. All of the grass I had seen a night before is gone, and they're nothing but dirt and small scattered mounds of gravel and sand. That really threw a bigger hex into all of this, because this field is the one I looked at closely the night before, even to the point I turned on my fog lights and the high beams. And it was nothing but a grassy field. Now this area has been converted into a small shopping center, but still a small part of the field remains. And to this day, there is still a few mounds of gravel and sand on the field, as if someone began a project there that never made it out of the very early stages. Still to this day, I've never been on this road again. Even if it takes me an extra 5 or 10 minutes to avoid this road, I will.